What's going on, guys? She's trapping season. Let's go. Alright, guys. So I got, it's that time of year again, getting ready for trapping season. And it's just a week and a half away there now. Some of the seasons are open. We can go out after, we can go to like hold coyotes and stuff like that. But fur's not prime right now. It's not really worth catching, I guess. So we usually wait. Beaver season opens up here in a week and a half. So what I'm doing now is I've dyed all my traps. You guys seen that? So now I'm just going over, checking each trap and making sure I have everything I need for them. So one of the things I do every year is I use this green wire here. We get at a local trapping supply store. I think it's like a 9 gauge or an 11 gauge or whatever it is. So what I do is I use that as my tie off. I just gotta find my, I gotta find, there, I find a pair of pliers. So yeah, so here's one of my new 330s. I've never been in the water. I just dyed them. And so the first thing I do is you gotta V out your triggers a little bit just so you can get them. If they do walk through it, then their head will pass it. Then you'll get them. These jaws, when this trap fires, they'll hit them right behind the neck and right behind the head rather, and kill them dead. Most humane way to do it, and that's the way we like to do it. So yeah, so you just put your little V in there. You know, check your parts, make sure there's nothing broken on them or whatever. Belle Isle, they've got a damn good trap. It's hard to beat them. So anyway, what I do is I take a strand of this, put 12 feet long. I really don't want to. I'm gonna have to use my spool here, I think maybe. I won't try and I got another kind of wire in there for snaring. Anyway, so what I do is I'll roll out about 12 feet. So that way there, and I double it up. So that'll give me 6 feet of wire to tie off to. That way there, the beaver, if he spins and goes all crazy once he's in the trap, then he won't break the wire and he won't get all caught up and such. Yeah, so what I do here is I'll put the two ends together and then bend the wire down. Of course, it gets caught up on absolutely everything. Find the middle of your wire, give her a little bend, and then I go back to my loose ends here, and I wrap it around the spring, nice and tight. Keep this one straight, and then bend that down, wrap her around like an electrician would on the power lines. See, wrap around that way there. It's still got room to play on that. Snip off your ends. Crimp her down so you got no sharp edges. There you go. Now you've got 6 feet of lead to tie off to. So that beaver gets caught and he gets flipping and flopping. He's not going to break that. And then for storage, until I get to set them, I just fold them around. They sit nice and flat. Don't get tangled up on nothing. So there's one. I'll do that to all of these traps. and setting for otter when I had these ones bent. There you go. Just like that. Check your safety. Yep. Check your trigger. Yep. It all looks good. If I was smart, I'd have a second spool for this, but normally I have this wire in my spool, but try to avoid getting her all tangled up and such. That can turn into a nightmare real quick, I'm sure you all know. And we just do the same thing, find our ends and cinch it down in the middle. I just got done today. I was setting the garage up for I built the skinning table today and I put all my fur hangers up behind me. She's starting to feel like a fur shed now. I got some cleaning up to do and stuff of that nature, but other than that, all the building's done. I don't gotta swing a hammer for the rest of the year. Just wrap it around. Fold it in here anywhere just to keep it nice and neat for whenever it's in your trap basket. Well, there, I'll get the rest of these done and I'll show you how I get my number 5s ready. Alright, now we're back again. So these here, like I said, these traps here are awful expensive. They're I think they're right around $55 a trap. So these ones here, I don't have a lot of, but I've been slowly building them up. Every beaver check that I get goes right back into buying these traps. And like I said, I just started buying them last year, so I bought these 3 last year, and I just bought 3 more this year. Yeah, so these ones here are dyed. That's why they're black. These ones are brand new. I won't even bother trying to dye them before I'll use them for this whole season, and then get out from that. So what you want to do is so these are newly dyed, so this trap pan's not going to quite be where it should be, and it's not. It's a little loose. You want to run about, I don't know, 2.5. Let's say 2.5 pounds of pan tension. That there should be pretty well hit. I get asked all the time, why don't you use a trap setter? Well, too stubborn is what it is. So now so she's set there now. I'll set it the night latch. There. Yeah, okay, she's in the night latch. So that's how it sits down in the water. So now you can get a trap tester. I have one somewhere, but I usually just go by feel. I've done enough of these now that I can more or less tell you if I'm at where I need to be just by setting it off. No, that's too late. So what you're trying to do is you want the beaver to put his full weight on these traps. You don't want him to just touch it and it set off on him. So that's how you get educated beavers or trap shy beavers. He don't want no part of that. Sitting pretty good there. That's about perfect right there. So that one's done. We'll go back and This one here feels a little stiffer. We'll work it in because it's got dye on it now. That was real stiff at first, and I bet this will be the same way. Real stiff, but then if you work it, you can see now it'll fall. If you get working, because that's been dyed again. See? It's pretty good there, but this one here loosened right up. So that's why you do this. I had these set perfect last year, but then I dyed them, and things tend to lighten up. You gotta work it a little bit just to. Yeah, that feels pretty good there. That's why a lot of trappers you see are bigger boys. They got a bigger gut on them. You gotta use your gut to hold the trap down. Heaven forbid it slip though, you'd get an awful pinch. Should have night lash there. These traps have been sitting outside. That pan's sitting a little bit higher, but it's not bad. Let's see. Perfect. Yeah, this one needs to be tightened just a hair. This one loosened up a bit, but not as bad. I had a guy last year trying to show off. He never set a trap in his life, so I showed him how to set these ones. Anyway, we get to, I can't remember where we were now, but anyway, we get to one of his family members' houses, and sure enough, he gets trying to set this trap to show off, and anyway, yeah, ends up getting his hand caught. I don't think he got his hand caught. Pretty good there. Never got his hand caught, but he almost did. He tried everything he had to do to get that trap set, but him being a rookie and not really knowing where to hold and how to hold, and anyway, it was pretty comical. Anytime a feller goes to show off setting traps, that's about the time she's all gonna go to hell on you. Like I say, these three here are brand new. So you almost want to set them a little stiffer in the beginning anyway. Whew. You get tired awful quick setting these and you haven't done it in a while. See where the trap pan's gonna set after the night latch. So I like Boat Bridger. That's about perfect. I don't know if you can see that or not. That's just about perfect. That one there's ready for the marsh. I'll do this with every single one of my traps. I'll double check, make sure everything's working good. And I always bring tools with me when I'm out on the line, because you get a catch and then sometimes that'll knock your pan tension off just a little bit. Maybe a little tighter. I got a pile of apples up behind the house here that I bought. I had some big plans to do some deer hunting. Well, it got hot, temperature-wise, and I picked up a few bags to feed, to fill. When I was hunting, I got two spots that I hunt. I bow hunt one spot and rifle hunting another. So when I was bow hunting, I went and I baited, I think, twice with those apples. I got a lot left. Anyway, it got so hot, the bees in there's honeybees in there that took over, and wasps. Anyway, now I can see I've got 3 coon trails going to that apple pile, and I was out picking these traps up. We're off my drying rack, and sure enough, I look over and here's this coon sitting there eating the apples. I laughed at him. I said, you're so bold. He just lifted up his head, smacking his cheeks, his mouthful of apples. Oh, I didn't even tighten the pan on that. Yeah, sitting there smacking his cheeks, is loving life. He's got a trail going right to my turkeys. So I don't know if the turkeys have been fighting him off or what. So you always want to work the pan a little bit just to see how she's going to react. I can feel that loosening up. She's a little too tight yet, but holy mister, man. This will happen every once in a while with some traps. Japers. It's amazing, by the end of the season you got 4 arms of steel, and she's all floppy there now. She's been in the off season. Traps laying, that pan laying good. Hair stiff, but I think it should be fine. Well, there you go. Now that's their number 5 Bridger. That's basically the same deal as a number 3 Bridger. This one here, so coyotes, these are for coyotes and fox. And I run 3 pounds of pan tension on these. I've got, I think 2 dozen that I'll be running this year. Not a lot. I don't do a lot of canine trapping, but yeah, so this is all the same deal. These are a little easier to set. They're just smaller, so it's easier to get your hands on things. Now these ones here have a night latch. There's a bullet stake. That's how I anchor the traps to the ground. Should be able to hear the night latch on this one. There you go. So that's your night latch, and that pan sits perfect. That right there. Money, right there. So there's your number 3, your number 5. So here's a 1.5, or 1.5, whatever you want to call it. Use these for muskrat. So these are the same thing. Test your pans. And you can grab right a hold of the trap on these ones. Just like that. Now these ones here have a night latch too. You might be able to hear this one. Yeah, you can barely hear it, but yeah, set that on there. I run the Hags. I started running them last year. And so anyway, this goes on your fiberglass pole. That sits just like that. You got your bait up here, and your muskrat comes up, steps on the trap, and down she goes. There. I was looking at that. It was past the night latch, and there's not a whole lot of room there, but it was past the night latch. And I got looking at it, thinking, how the hell's that thing still set? Anyway, and she went off. Let's see here. So then you got your number 11 Bridger, double long spring. And then some of you guys might have the the Duke number ones. I love using these for rats. These long springs, I don't know what it is about them, but I just love using them. They're super easy to set. They're low profile. I'm not a huge fan of Duke, but these number ones come at a good deal. So, and there they got the same thing. They got the screw and the bolt. This one here is backed right off. This is why you check your traps. I had all these set last year. Yeah, that bolt backed right out. These side by sides coming alive. Yeah, so it's the same thing. You got a bolt and a screw. Same thing with these number 11s. These ones here, you got to break over your knee. Or at least that's how I do it. And then use the pans, not the pans, the jaws to help you out. And yeah, set her like that is another one of my favorite rat traps. I like them long springs. The coil springs, they work nice. I just seem to I like the long springs better. So yeah, so there's all your long springs there, or your there's all your leg traps. So you got your number 5 bridger, number 3 bridger, 1.5 bridger, number 11 bridger, number 1 Duke. See if I can get this one here. I forgot I had these ones. There's your number 2 bridgers. So here's for beaver, grounded beaver, foothold in coyotes and fox. This is just the same track, just a little bit smaller for coyote and fox, muskrat and muskrat. So there you go. That's how I prep my leg holds for the season. Like I say, I go through every trap and I check the pan tension on every trap. And after every catch, I'll do the same thing. I'll check them by hand. Like I don't use a tester anymore, but I do have one. I'm a little more finicky on these coyote and fox traps than I am with the other ones. But the coyote and the fox trap, because you don't want when that fox or that coyote steps on that trap, you want his full weight on that pan. So when he gets caught, he can't pull out. So there you have it. There's your footholds and your 330s. Now let's see here. You get into the coon basket. I'll be trapping the raccoons as well. So I use everything from a DP trap to a 160. These are my go-to raccoon traps. So yeah, what I'll do now is I get a lot of questions from just guys interested in the sport and guys that you know don't have the money to have each and every kind of trap. Mind you, I don't have each and every kind either, but I've got a pretty wide selection. So I'll show you each size of body grip trap. So here's a 120, normally used for, I use them for Merton boxes mostly, and mink boxes. Those are my go-tos for, now if I'm muskrat trapping, then I'll only set the 1 spring, because that'd be a 110. So a 110 and a 120 are the same trap, they just have one's got 1 spring and the other one's got 2 springs. So there's your 110, or 110, 120. And then here's a 160. So that would be for your raccoons. Raccoons and Fisher. I tend to use the 160s for Fisher. They've got an awful wallop to them for the size of them, and they work out some nice. So your next one would be your 220. Now it's kind of hard to tell between a 220 and a 280. right here, right off the bat, there's a 280. I do have a I don't have very many of them, but I've got two 220s. And these are for otter. 280s I use for otter. And any set that I think I'm gonna catch a beaver, I'll use, or an otter, like a crossover, I'll use a 280. Here's your 220. So you can see the 220 and the 280, there's not a whole lot of difference. But you can see each trap just continually gets slightly bigger and bigger. And then you've got the big boy, the 330, that just tramples over all of them. So yeah, for the most popular ones, those are your different sized. There's your 330, 280, 220, 160, 110, 120. And like I said, then you got your Bridger footholds, and you got your DP traps for coons. And if you're come across, you got some older traps here. This one here is slightly bigger than a 110, or sorry, a number 11 Bridger. This is an old Victor. This here, I won't use it. It's gonna be a wall hanger. And here's another old Victor single spring. Same deal. These old Victors, they're pretty good little traps. I picked these up at a junkyard. Buddy's gonna sell them. You can see they're pretty well wore out. So I'll turn these into wall hangers. Now I also have an old Newhouse trap, a long spring, double long spring trap. That'll be going on the wall as well. That one there is the oldest trap I've ever seen. So yeah, there you have it. There's all the different kinds of traps and how I go about prepping them. So like I said, you see in the 330s, and I do it with all my traps. You can see they all got wires. Beavers, I'll use up to 6 feet of tie off. Usually 6 feet for the 280s. Same with the 220s, because that's usually my otter trap. If I have it set for otter, then I'll use about 6 feet of tie out, just because the otters, they flop and flip, and it's hard to kill an otter. And then these ones here, I'll usually go 4 feet or so. 4 feet to 2 feet. If I'm catching mink, then it's probably 2 feet, maybe 4, depends on how generous I want to be with the wire. Yeah, so that's that. Another roll of wire. A little later in the season, I'll do a video on how to make snares, and I use the I think they call it the Marty Seneker system, but so I'll do a video on that. But as for main season trapping, this is my go-to right here. I've been using it for a number of years, and yeah, I say I'm no professional trapper by any means, but when I have the time and the drive, I can put out some pretty decent numbers. And this year, if everything cooperates with work, then I'm gonna have a big line. I'm gonna hit her hard this year and break in this new fur shed rate. And yeah, I'm going for a record year. I'm going for 100 rats this fall. I think it's doable. I don't know too many people that target rats that much. I'm sure there's a few. Yeah, so that's my plan. 100 rats. I'd like to go get some 50 beavers, but I don't know. That'd be a lot of work. And I don't know if I'm sure I can find them. I usually get people calling me throughout the season saying they found this beaver and that beaver. Well, if you're smart, you don't turn that stuff down, because you get word of mouth, and you got guys doing your scouting for you after a while. So yeah, there's a little intro to traps, I guess. I'll be doing some skinning videos and some set making videos this year, and I plan on putting out a lot of content. So yeah, there you have it. Till next time, see you later.